MJD stands for Maurice Jones-Drew. Grew up in Antioch, a fan of the Oakland Raiders for the first time in his brilliant NFL career. He will play inside the O.Co Coliseum against the Raiders on Sunday. Welcome to our Silver and Black Show. Greg Papa joined by Jim Plunkett, the two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback of the Raiders. We have a pair of 1-4 teams squaring off, and the Jaguars, Jim, will come in off their bye week.
This is a must-win situation for both these teams. The Raiders, if they had won last week, would be just one game behind Denver and San Diego, but they didn't, and so they've got to fight and claw their way back into the race.
Yeah, the Raiders came in off their bye week last Sunday in Atlanta, and they rose up. The theme at Atlanta this year is rise up. After all the success in the regular season, they want to carry it over to the postseason, Jim, but it was the Raiders that rose up in the Georgia Dome last Sunday, outgained the Atlanta Falcons 474 yards to 286 yards, and played well on each side of the ball to win the football game. Unfortunately, a 55-yard field goal beat them with a second to play.
Yeah, it certainly did. Unfortunately, they just couldn't hold them long enough to go into overtime. And one of the things that the Raiders have done exceptionally well at this season has been penalties. And unfortunately, against Atlanta, they had a lot of penalties that really hurt a lot of their drives. Two of the biggest and longest runs by Darren McFadden were brought back because of penalties. Time and time again, they had to overcome these penalties. And to give them credit, oftentimes they did. Carson Palmer had a good game. They ran the ball effectively. A lot of good things happened offensively and defensively. A goal line stand. They shut down the running game. I thought it was an impressive performance, their best performance of the year, but unfortunately they came up on the short end.
And you mentioned the penalties. 21 yards and rushing yards was taken away from Darren McFadden, but still, Jim, he ran a stubborn 27 times for 70 yards. He ran hard. Mike Goodson got loose for a big 43-yard run. And how about this misdirection toss end around to Darius Hayward-Bay? Clever play here. Looks like it's going to McFadden. It's coming the other way to DHB for a gain of 20.
Yeah, no, with defenses like that who pursue hard and heavy, those misdirection plays, the reverse, so to speak, was a big play for Darius Hayward-Bay. Picked up a lot of good yardage. Very well conceived, but that's how you slow down pursuit from the backside, and it worked effectively.
Raiders ran the ball for 149 yards Sunday in Atlanta, season high, and Carson Palmer threw it for 353 yards. Jim, he hit on nearly 70% of his attempts. His quarterback rating was 102.2, and he completed 23 passes for 353 yards. The Raiders were getting big chunks in the passing game last Sunday.
They certainly were, and as I said, part of the big gains came after big penalties, and you know, you have to pick up a lot more yardage, and the Raiders were able to do that. They're very impressed with their passing game. The protection that Carson Palmer got, I thought, was very, very good, and that shows you what this offense is capable of doing. Now they got to find a way to do it each and every week.
Derek Hagan had the big 38-yard catch and run to set up the Raiders' game-tying score. Nice pass to Mike Goodson for 37 yards. Even Darren McFadden, they love to throw to the backs, Jim. He picks up 20 yards, but Denarius Moore was the go-to guy from the 1-yard line. This reminded me of Plunkett to Branch here, over the top to Demo down the sideline for 49 yards. And check out this clever play design as they get the ball to Demo, gets a block from Brandon Myers, and it's a 25-yard touchdown Raiders.
Yeah, and he bounces off a couple of defenders on the way to the goal line. Very impressive. Over 100 yards for Denarius Moore in this game. Very impressive in the passing game all the way around. Brandon Myers, Denarius Moore, Hagan, they all contributed mightily to this effort against the Falcons.
And over on the other side of the ball, Matt Ryan has been tabbed as an early season most valuable player candidate in the NFL. He had thrown just 3 interceptions in their first 5 victories, Jim. He threw 3 interceptions in his first 5 passes last Sunday as the Raiders had a pick-a-palooza last Sunday.
They certainly did. That first quarter, 3 interceptions. Tremendous job by the defense. Been much maligned over the first 4 games.
And the last one here by Tyvon Branch. It was a blitz, and a clever blitz. Miles Burris comes in. Right behind him is Philip Wheeler as they get the hit on Matt Ryan. Ball goes fluttering into the air, and the Raiders got a lot more pressure on the quarterback last Sunday, and part of that was because of the emergence of Andre Carter. His first Raider game, the veteran defensive end, Jim, played about 25 snaps last Sunday.
He did, and I was watching him specifically to see what kind of pressure he can put on the quarterback, and although he didn't get to the quarterback, he got up the field. He put pressure on the tackle trying to block him, pushed him right into Matt Ryan's face, and caused a lot of those errant throws and some of those interceptions.
What do you say we talk to Andre Carter? He's going to join us when we continue on the Silver and Black Show.
Looking, throwing, and it's intercepted.
In the middle of the field, Joselio Hansen. First interception of the season for the Oakland Raiders.
Goes deep down the middle for Julio Jones.
Intercepted. Michael Huff picked it off. Third interception. interception by the Raider defense. It's raining interceptions for the Raiders.
Jose Johansson, Michael Huff, and Tyvon Branch. The Raiders intercepted Matt Ryan 3 times. They sacked him once. They knocked him down 10 times. They were all over him. And the Raiders' third down defense was much better last Sunday inside the Georgia Dome. Welcome back to our Silver and Black Show. Greg Papa rejoined by Jim Plunkett. A big reason why the Raiders were better on third down, they changed their linebacker configuration, Jim. And also, Andre Carter came in on third down to rush the quarterback.
Yeah, 2 big pluses in the Raider defense. The way they put pressure on the quarterback, number 1. The coverage was a little bit better. And with Andre Carter coming after the quarterback, although they didn't get to him, we put a lot of pressure on him, made him throw early, and that really helped the DBs pick off 3 passes.
Atlanta converted only 2 of 9 on third downs, and Jason Tarver was praising his young defenders for being able to make adjustments on the sideline during the game, something they were not doing earlier. I think and partly because of the emergence of Andre Carter, a guy who played with Jason Tarver across the bay as a San Francisco 49er and a former Cal Bear. What do you say we head over to Studio B? Jeanette Thompson is with Andre.
Thanks, Jim and Greg. As you see, I have with me Andre Carter. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I mean, you know, I'm exhausted and tired, and you caught me at a perfect time when I'm just trying to catch my breath, so the pleasure's all mine.
The first thing we got to get into is you becoming a Raider.
Oh, yeah.
You had the choice of becoming a Raider. There were other teams that had an interest in you.
Yes, yes.
Why the Raiders?
Why not? Why not? I mean, this is where it all started for me. My dad moved to San Jose, California in '95, went to Oak Grove High School, ended up playing for the Cal Bears, got drafted by the 49ers. So it kind of comes all in a full circle, just starting the Bay and way to come back to the Bay.
You mentioned your dad.
Yes.
Also very involved with football.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about his career and how that influenced you maybe to play the game.
You know, it's kind of funny. I was at my first love was basketball, but you know, all I could do was really dunk, and you talk to my friends, I couldn't shoot for nothing, just dunk and rebound. So I decided to do football coming into my sophomore year in high school and play defensive line, and my dad played all 3 levels, high school, college, and played 12 years for the Broncos. I know Raider fans, hey, it is what it is. But what better resources than my father to talk to me about, you know, just as far as technique and how to be a great football player. So 12 years in the game he played, and this is my 12th year. So my goal is to try to outplay him if I can.
You got back into the first game since an injury.
Yes.
So what was it like to get back into the game?
You know, a lot of people, some people thought I wasn't able to come back, especially from this crazy injury. I mean, and it does happen. I've heard of players that, you know, some just hang it up, and other players that come back. I knew I could come back, so just to be on the field, you know, especially this past week, was just a blessing. So I just soaked it all in. I just played hard and played fast, and I will correct my mistakes later.
Coach Tarver?
Yes.
You know him before you got here.
Yeah.
He's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
I think you, too, might become a fan favorite here. Tell me a little bit about Coach Tarver and your relationship with him.
Oh, he's an undercover nerd.
Undercover?
Undercover nerd. Not gonna fool you. He's very book smart. Yeah, I won't tell you what he used to major in, but I tell you what, I'm like, so you majored in that, but you did football. But I tell you what, it takes a true person to love the game. And I mean, he just came from the ground up, just kind of doing, I guess, kind of like quality control, right, and just constantly working his way up. I had him my 5th year when they changed our scheme to a 3-4, and he really helped me out as far as you know, just playing the game and technique. But here he is as a defensive coordinator, so it goes to show you that just through his work ethic, his dedication to the players. I tell you one thing, he loves the game, but he also loves his players. He comes to them as men. And that's always important.
Now you've seen both aspects, both to be able to watch the game from the sidelines with the players, right, and then also to be in the game. How do you see this defense?
This defense is something very special. Granted that we're young, I felt that this past week was definitely a stepping stone as far as how we could be. Now, the main question is, can we do it week by week? It's never easy. We're always going to have certain challenges and obstacles to overcome. But if we can match that level of play or exceed it, I'll be happy. Challenges,
like you just mentioned, one of them is sacking a quarterback.
Sacking a quarterback.
Walk me through or run me through what it's like to actually sack the quarterback. What's going through your mind?
You know, I remember talking to young guys. I remember during times when I was younger, I always said, oh, I gotta find a way to get to the quarterback. But I told him, at the end of the day, just play football. It's just gonna come. Sack rolls in bunches, and during my time when I did have double-digit sacks, it just kept on coming. There's no other greater feeling. It's just kind of like the highest level of achievement each game. And when you do it, it's just like, okay, I got my guy now. I understand him, and it's just a big play because sacks are hard to come by.
All right, Jeanette, thank you. And Andre Carter is going to be a nice addition for this football team. The Raiders had him in training camp, took a look at him, and now he's healthy enough to make an impact. One thing the Raiders are constantly doing, Jim, is bringing people in to take a look at on the practice field and trying to upgrade this roster throughout the entire season.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think Reggie McKenzie learned from Ron Wolf over at Green Bay. Continually trying to upgrade your team, get better players in positions to make plays, and that's exactly what Reggie's doing.
And even though the Raiders did not win last Sunday, arguably they played their best football game of the year in all three phases. When we come back, we'll talk about the progress the Raiders are making as Jim Plunkett has the conversation with the Raider head coach Dennis Allen. That's next on the Silver and Black Show.
It's going to be a tough game, and hopefully our crowd will really help us out a lot.
Definitely excited to be back in there, in the home stadium with, the home fans behind us.
I think the Black Hole's ready for a win back home. We're excited about this opportunity and a chance to go out and put good football on film and get a win.
Okay, welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. Jim Plunkett along with head Raider coach Dennis Allen. And Coach, as you said after the game last week, there are no moral victories, and we all know it's all about winning. But you have to be encouraged by the way the team played.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I thought our guys went out and played extremely hard. They were very well focused for the game, and they competed against a very good football team, and we can build on that. We all understand that our job is to win football games, and we've got to find ways to finish those things. But there are some things that we can build off with that game.
Sure. Last week we were talking about lack of interceptions, lack of turnovers, and all of a sudden in the first quarter you get 3 interceptions. Was that produced by a good pass rush, understanding the coverage better? What do you think it was?
Well, I think it's a combination of both of those things. I mean, the way you take the ball away is rush and coverage work together, and I thought our guys really understood the route concepts that they were going to be seeing out of Atlanta. And then because we had a little tighter coverage, the rush was able to affect the quarterback a little bit more, and we probably got after Matt Ryan a little bit more than we've been getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, it certainly looked that way. I thought it was a phenomenal effort by the defense. Goal line stands, interceptions, all the things you worked on, and finally saw some fruition come to be in that game.
Yeah, I mean, those were things that we wanted to make sure that we worked on over the bye week, and so it was good to see that we were able to make a little progress that way.
Michael Huff got one of those interceptions, a safety playing cornerback. Has he improved over the last several weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think he played the best game he's played at the corner position last week, and he's continuing to improve and continuing to work on the technique. He's got athleticism, he's got the speed, but it's a different animal out there on the island. So it's the techniques and the fundamentals of playing the position that he's getting back into to working.
Offensively, he ran the ball much better. I thought Carson Palmer had a very, very good game. Obviously a mistake towards the end of the game, but you got to be proud of the way the guys came back and drove the ball down the field to tie it up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the fact that our guys never quit, they never hung their head. We always knew that we had a chance to win that football game, and we competed right up to the very end. I thought our offense moved the ball extremely well. Obviously we had some critical penalties in the game and the critical turnovers in the game, and really at the end of the day that was the difference in winning and losing the football game.
And that usually is, turnovers and penalties kill you. Jags having problems of their own. They're 32nd on offense, 29th on defense, and most of their offense revolves around a little guy named Maurice Jones-Drew. Do you think that part of their success in getting the upper hand on these guys is to shut down Drew and force Blaine Gabbert, who's a young guy, to throw the football?
Well, absolutely. You got to stop Maurice Jones-Drew. He's a little guy, but he's a special player, and he plays extremely big, and he's well-rounded. He can run the football. He's great in protection. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. So he's obviously one of their most explosive players, and we got to know where he's at on every snap.
Yeah, I assume you don't want to put the game in the hands of a guy like Blaine Gabbert, who's young, inexperienced, and just learning the game, as opposed to letting him control the ball on the ground, obviously.
Well, absolutely. If we can make them a one-dimensional team, and that's a team game. That's offense, defense, and the kicking game. For us to have the ability to get out to a lead, and maybe stretch the lead a little bit, it would force them to have to throw the football a little bit more. So, but it'll be a tough challenge to get them in that situation.
How do you keep these guys focused and playing at the same level as they did a week ago? Anything special? I think you'll have to remind them of. What's your strategy in this?
Well, I mean, you know, it's hard to have the same focus for 16 straight weeks in the National Football League, and that's what makes this game so special. But I think our guys all understand where we're at, what we've got to get accomplished. And we all understand that all of our goals are still right out there in front of us, but our margin for error is not what it was in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, a little tough after a 1-4 start, but I think if anybody who watched that game, you've got to feel encouraged with what's coming up for the Raiders and your staff doing a good job in getting these guys ready to play. Good luck next week against the Jaguars.
Hey, thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Touchdown, Raiders! The most important play of your life. Your enshrinement in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Plunkett giving to Allen, sending him wide left. He has to reverse his field, but he gets away for a moment. Comes back up the middle of 30, 35, 40. Breaks past 2 men at the 50. Holy Toledo! Touchdown Raiders!
I love football. It's my DNA. Words do not measure the profound feeling I have at this moment. I'd like to thank Mr. Al Davis for drafting me and Coach Tom Flores for putting his faith and trust in a rookie.
Plunkett gives it to Allen, to the 10, the 5. He darts into the end zone. Touchdown Raiders!
No great deed is done alone, guys. And through your contributions, I'm up here, and I thank you for all that. I was so privileged and lucky to play this incredible game with so many incredible people. Thank you very much.
We honor Raider Hall of Famer Marcus Allen, who was the MVP of Super Bowl 18, in large part because of Jim Plunkett's great pulling technique. You're a pulling quarterback there, James.
Oh, you do what you have to do to help win football games. One of the best players I've ever been around at running back. He could do it all, catch the ball, block, and certainly run, as you well witnessed in that Super Bowl 18. But just a joy to play with him.
As Bill King said, running with the night. And running backs are going to be on display this Sunday, Jim, as Maurice Jones-Drew will play against the Raiders for the very first time in Oakland. We did see him, though, in Jacksonville back in 2010, and it was Darren McFadden who had a Marcus Allen-type performance, Jim. Arguably his best game ever in the NFL, 209 total yards, and he scored 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was very big in that game, and that's the kind of game you can expect from Darren McFadden. Give him a little room to run, catch the ball out of the backfield. He can do it all, and hopefully that'll be the case this Sunday against the Jaguars.
Maurice Jones-Drew is coming back home. He grew up a Raider fan up in Antioch, played for the great coach Bob Ladouceur in De La Salle High School, didn't lose a game throughout his high school career, and twice won the state title, Jim. He held out throughout all of training camp, but right away when he came back, he became the featured guy. He accounts for 41% of the Jacksonville offense. So if you tackle number 32, can you beat this team on Sunday?
I think so. I think that's the strength of their offense. They're not throwing the ball very effectively, and I think if we can shut down or slow down Maurice Jones-Drew, the Raiders have a much better chance to win this football game.
He's a tough guy to get to. He's a little guy. He has massive legs and thighs. He's tough to tackle, just 5'7", so the Raiders are going to have to crowd him. Give me a word about the young quarterback, Blaine Gabbert, who was at an up-and-down first season and a quarter in the NFL.
Well, I think he's struggling a little bit, but he's making progress, according to his coach, Malarkey. And one thing about young players in particular, you don't know what they're going to come up with because you don't really have a big, long book on them. So be prepared for just about anything.
The Jags rank last in total offense, and over on the other side of the ball, Jim, they rank 29th in total defense, and they are 30th out of 32 teams in stopping the run. That's going to be my key to the Raider victory on Sunday. They started to show more progress in the running game last Sunday in Atlanta with nearly 150 yards, Jim. They got to run the football, get the lead, and make Blaine Gabbert play from behind on Sunday.
I think so. I think that would be a key. That was my key, actually, but you can have it. But anyway, yeah, but you're right. Slow him down, make Gabbert win the ball game for them, and I think they're going to be a little bit of trouble.
All right, you can have that key. My key is score more points than the Jags. Jacksonville Jaguars, Jim. I don't care how they do it. Just get maybe a half a point more. Because if the Raiders win this game, I know they're 1-4, but because of the comeback win by Denver and San Diego on Monday night, they're 3-3, and they both have byes this week. Believe it or not, if the Raiders win this football game, they're only going to be one game out of first place in the AFC West.
Yeah, they certainly could be. That would be really a great comeback after a 1-4 start. But the AFC West leading is San Diego and Denver at 3-3. Win this game, one game behind the leaders.
And the Raiders have a schedule coming up. You got Jacksonville at Kansas City next Sunday, and then after that, home for Tampa Bay. The Raiders would very much like to get at the midway point of the season at 4-4, Jim, but it all starts with beating the Jacksonville Jags on Sunday.
You're right. You don't look ahead. You concentrate on the Jaguars, and whatever happens after that happens. But right now, it's come Sunday, beat the Jaguars.
All right, and the Raiders are going to be gone for the Halloween holiday as they're going to play in Kansas City coming up on Halloween weekend, not back home until early November against Tampa Bay. So if you're coming to the game early on Sunday, as always, bring out the little ones and be sure to check out the Rookie Zone and enter your kid in the 7th annual Raiders Halloween costume contest that'll go on early in the day between 11:25 and 1 o'clock, and kickoff will be at 1:25. Many thanks to Andre Carter and Jeanette Thompson for their conversation this week, and Raider head coach Dennis Allen for his weekly conversation with Jim Plunkett. Join us next week as we get you ready for the Raiders and their annual trek to Kansas City and Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. I think you're ready. Enjoy it on Sunday. Darren McFadden up against Maurice Jones-Drew and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This has been a presentation on the Team of the Decades presented by Silver and Black Productions.